Good morning. Kia ora. John Yates is my name, son of Honi Heke and Jean Yates, of Maori, Irish, Jewish extraction. We live in interesting times, and the phrase is often used, which is the world's been turned on its head. Interestingly, if you turn the map of the world upside down and find New Zealand, you'll see that we sit in the very centre of the world, and Tiwai Point down at Bluff in Invercargill is right in the centre. Tiwai Point, of course, is an aluminium smelter which produces some of the cleanest aluminium in the world. It does that because it uses clean water from Lake Manapōuri, which drops 200 metres through a vertical shaft and turns some electricity turbines at the bottom, which generates a huge amount of electricity. That electricity flows to the smelter at Tiwai Point, where for nearly 50 years it has been turning bauxite, which is the raw material for aluminium, into aluminium. Big ships come in with this material from Australia right to the base of the smelter. The clean electricity flows through it, and lo and behold, 300,000 tonne of some of the cleanest aluminium is produced every year. Now, the smelter has in recent days announced it's going to close, which on one side is sad, but I'm an optimist. I see opportunity. Rio Tinto is not an easy company to deal with, and the thought of 1,000+ people losing their jobs, of course, is major for the country. Hold that thought. I have a company that makes small transition houses, and if you look at the small video on the side right now, you get a feel for how we do it. But what's particularly interesting is we're doing this out of aluminium. Now, up until 6 months ago, I was making these houses out of steel from South Africa. COVID-19 has turned that on its head, and I came back to New Zealand manufacturers to see if we could sharpen their pencils to make us competitive to produce these homes in New Zealand. That I've been able to do. The possibilities now are that we could take between 50 and 100,000 tonne of the raw material that the Tiwai smelter makes and turn them into homes, which New Zealand really, really needs, as does the rest of the world. Everywhere in the world, the Western world in particular, there is a massive shortage of cost-effective, compliant, warm, effective rentals, small homes. And this is a new business for New Zealand. So we've listened to Grant Robertson, our Minister of Finance, talking about borrowing, and he and Jacinda and their partners have done a pretty good job of containing the disease. But we now are facing the realities of what are we going to do as a country to generate the income necessary to not only pay the interest on the money we're borrowing, but at some stage pay it back. So my head said, why don't we develop this new business? All the pieces are here. We've got a smelter that's announced its closure. We have a government that's borrowed a lot of money on behalf of our people. We've got large sectors of our normal economy closed down. No more tourists. Very few imported students, but a huge amount of extra debt. So why not build some businesses, and my transition housing company is one that I believe could really fire up, and New Zealand could be seen to be assisting not only its own housing problems, but the rest of the world as well. Just quickly, the smelter, before it goes, has to address cleaning up the site. The site that they occupy for their smelter is a leased site from our Department of Conservation. It is a beautiful site, and we know that there are costs involved in bioremediating, cleaning up the site before Tiwai Point, Rio Tinto and Sumitomo, the partners in the company that owns the smelter, before they can leave really. Now that figure's been assessed at 257 million New Zealand dollars. That's a lot of money, but it's probably a lot higher because that figure is an old one. So I'm suggesting that we adjudicate and appoint a commission that goes onto the site to assess what the current state of it is, with everyone's knowledge, and reports back that, okay, we can do the cleanup for 300 million, 400, 500, whatever it is whatever it is, because the smelter has to pay for that, right? So that's a debt to New Zealand. So it might be possible to do a deal with Tiwai and say, look, we'll get this site cleaned up with you, but we could take part payment for some of the aluminium you're making with Mr. Yates' company in his transition houses. So that's the thought for the day. I leave it with you and look forward to commentary should you have any. Kia ora.